let me show you what I wound up with here. This is what I have here. By the way, I switched back to my capital W there for Y Karate. Duplicated it out and, again, just fiddled until I had things just sort of sitting where they naturally wanted to fall. So meet your and then sensei. I was looking for the operative word in each of these headlines too, by the way. Maybe that'll help you out. Karate, sensei, dojo, right? That's really what it's all about. So anyway, so I got that all sorted out. That's great. And then I wanted to push my design further for a number of reasons. Most importantly, to move our learning along at a much faster pace here. So this is what I wound up with here for the main area. I threw in some rectangles there. I threw in more lorem ipsum in there as well. And rather than going with 3 separate containers, what I decided to do was go with one large container that was divided into 3 columns, right? And what I decided to do, by the way, for the fill on this main container is use something called a gradient. And unfortunately, we don't really have enough time to delve heavily into gradients. But let me just show you this here. I'm going to grab my fill swatch here. And then, of course, we have our gradient panel over on the right-hand side. And essentially what we can do is set a transition between 2 or more colors. So a starting color and an ending color, right? These guys here are called our gradient stops or our color stops. So usually what I would do is start off with one of the colors that we had already set up, and then what I might do is simply use a lighter version of that same color. So maybe what I should do is show you a really quick down and dirty example of how I might pull this off. So what I might do is, let's see, I might start off with a color like this and pull them down onto the gradient ramp. Give me just a second, pull that guy away, something like that, right? And then I'll take that color and I'll duplicate him out, again, by holding down Alt or Option and pulling him out there, and grab this existing stop and pull him away, something like that, right? So now it's just a flat, solid color. It's not a gradient, right? They're both the same colors, right? And then I'll grab one of the stops, and then I'll flip into the color panel, hold down the Shift key, and then drag on one of these triangular sliders, and what that will do is give me a slightly lighter version of the original color, right? Just some neat tricks here, and I know I'm going fast, but unfortunately we really don't have enough time to delve into all this. If I want to go and change this first color stop, go ahead and click on him. That selects him. Hold down Shift, and then again, maybe I'll make this guy just a little bit lighter. Maybe I wind up with something like that, right? And what I love about gradients is they just give some visual interest, right? Rather than going with a flat, solid color, you can add a little bit of depth to your design, right? So there we go. That's how I wound up there. And what else? Oh, I sort of developed out pretty much the rest of the layout. What I did is I formatted my text there, current news and events. That splatter, that brush effect there, I actually copied from the same effect that we had behind the logo way up at the top of the layout, way up here, this guy here. So I just duplicated him out, brought him down behind the current news and events text, and just scaled him out. And I just moved it and positioned it until I had it looking exactly the way I want, right? So it just takes a little bit of time. The same pretty much goes for the rest of the layout. I took my sidebar, filled it in, again with that base red that we had set up. Sign up for our newsletter is really no different than tour our dojo or meet the sensei. And again, that same brush effect in the background. I created a very quick thumbnail photo gallery, right? Just threw in some rectangles there, no big deal. And then further developed out the footer area as well. These guys here, I just copied from what I had previously created above, right? Brought them down, threw in the address, the contact info, duplicated down the main menu, and then what I did is I took out the Y Karate, Meet Your Sensei, and Tour Our Dojo items out of this main menu. And again, just scaled and positioned it up, right? So again, I've really gone far here. I've really developed things out. Again, really more to speed things up here. So you may want to pause things up at this point and develop out your layout as well. There's one more thing that I want to show you here in Illustrator, and then I think at that point we'll pretty much be ready to move the design layout over into Photoshop.